Greetings. This is your brother Chief Flying Eagle, aka Lord Amaticon. Let me explain something. I'm about to show you a video. All right. Of course, we have the likes of Umar Johnson and people such as those, right? Now, I want to word this very carefully because I don't want it to seem like it's an attack. But people like her and people like Umar Johnson, they are very dangerous people. All right. Let me explain something to y'all, like I always do. America, the Americas, was the firstborn of all the continents. Regardless of what people say, I'm telling you, that truth is going to be revealed sooner or later. It's going to be revealed. All right. However, we are going through a jubilee, and it's the restoration of the original people. And what we have to realize is people were put in place. I call them the Umar Johnsons of this world. The Umar Johnsons that were put in place to be a stumbling block, to be a hindrance, to be a deterrence in the restoration of we, the original people. And it's not happening just here in the United States. It's happening all over the Americas. Jamaica, Haiti, don't matter where you go, the game was played on our people. I want you to pay attention. And these people have a strong conviction. They truly believe. And I'm using the word believe intentionally because in the word believe is the word lie. They believe we came from Africa, but they have not studied. They don't have spiritual discernment, and I forgive them. You feel me? But we have to look out for the Umar Johnsons in this restoration process that we are going through. It's a process. Pay attention.
People hate comments to that one, yeah. But me have to talk truth to the Jamaica. We have to stop pretending. Out of many one people is a bloody lie. And this land belongs to African blood.
You heard what she said? The Jamaican land belonged to African blood. Pay attention to what this woman is saying. It goes to show you the indoctrination and the brainwashing of indigenous people of the Americas. But like I said, I'm not mad. You feel me? I'm not mad. It just goes to show the amount of work that we have to do. So for those, she's from Jamaica. She's speaking patois. So I'm going to kind of break things down as to what she's saying. All right. But so far, she's saying that the Jamaican land belonged to Africa. And let's hear her reasoning on that.
Not contract workers or colonial pets. Out of many, one people. Bull crap. The motto is a graveyard with makeup. A lie printed in gold leaf to hide the plantation soil still under our fingernails. So today me I go burn the lie all the way to the ground, and enough I wanna go vex with me.
In other words, she's saying that the lie that was told, you know what I mean, in regards to the land and the plantation, aka plantations of Jamaica, she's going to burn it to the ground. Pay attention.
Let's start with the Tainos. First here, first slaughtered.
She's saying that let's start with the Tainos. They were the first people in Jamaica, but they were the first slaughtered. Pay attention.
Yes, the Tainos were here, but stop romanticizing it like them still around things.
Okay, she's saying that yes, the Tainos were the original people, but stop romanticizing that they still run things. In other words, she's going with the narrative from the colonial perspective that Taino people were completely wiped out. That's what she's saying.
They were exterminated.
She's saying they were exterminated.
Genocided.
Genocide. All right. So she's saying that the Taino people are completely gone. That's what she's saying.
Murdered in mines, babies bashed on rocks, women raped by Spanish beasts. And by the 1600s, they were dead, systematically erased.
So she's saying that by the 1600s, the Taino people were completely eradicated from Jamaica.
So don't show them name in my face when me start talk about land. Because this is no longer Taino soil. This is African blood soil. And if them spirits still there, if the Taino spirits still there, me know say them would agree with me. The African fought back. The African survived. The African deserved the land.
All right, let me stop here. And this is where I'm going to stop because I'm not going to play the rest of the video. Okay? You see what these people don't realize. Okay? They are literally, once again, going with the narrative from a colonial perspective that the indigenous people all over the Americas were completely eradicated and that millions and millions of slaves came from Africa and sent into Jamaica. But what they're not being taught is that slave trade story was a lie. It never happened. It never existed. And that the people that were being enslaved, they were prisoners of war. And they were being taken from all over the Americas, including the United States, and sent into the Caribbean, including Jamaica. There's well-documented facts that says and shows that the Native Americans, okay, was sent literally over 5 million of them was sent into the Caribbean. However, less Africans were taken into the United States than Native Americans sent out of the US. And only about 380 Africans supposedly came into the US. But yet still, more people were sent from the US into the Caribbean, into Jamaica, Antigua, Dominica, and all those countries. So my question to this woman, the Uma Johnsons of the world, where are these native people at? Why they are not in Jamaica today? Why they are not in Dominica today? Why they are not in Antigua today? Where are they? That is because they were the so-called black people that were being enslaved in their own land. You see, people such as her and Uma Johnson, they are very, very dangerous. American soil could never belong to Africans. The spirit of our ancestors will not rest until the original children, which are us, are restored. You feel me? And that's some of the biggest problems we're going to face. It is people who look like us. You dig? And I wanted to point that out. Young woman, you are misled. You have been brainwashed. You have been bamboozled. And it's a complete disrespect to think that the Taino, Arawak, and Carib, they were eradicated when they were the same people. Jamaica could never belong to Africans because Africans were not taken into Jamaica. I guarantee you, there are more people in Jamaica with DNA and blood from Europe than Africa. I guarantee you that. The Black Britons, the Irish, the Scottish, they were the people that came into the Americas. They were not Africans and made our people prisoners of war. So these people are very dangerous people, the Uma Johnsons of the world. And we have to stand up against these people because they are going to be our biggest enemies. I'm not even going to play the rest of the video. I just wanted to point that out. You feel me? And she's not the only one. Uma Johnson is not the only one. I see a lot of other so-called black people on TikTok, on the internet, making fun of us, laughing at us. But don't worry about it. Our ancestors are going to shut all of this down. Because like I said, the truth is going to be revealed that America was the firstborn and that we are the original people of the Americas. And that whole slave narrative, it wasn't about us. We were never the slaves. We became prisoners of war in our own land, but we were never slaves that came from Africa. And all the people that came from Europe, They came as indentured servants. They only became enslaved after they got in the Americas, and those contracts of servitude were not honored and respected. And King Charles II decided to enslave them. You feel me? People need to know and learn the true story of what happened and not just go based on his story. The original people of the Americas were not eradicated and they were not exterminated. That's a lie. I'm done. Be aware of the Umar Johnsons of the world. That's all I'm going to say.